Hello, hello. Welcome to TechTeenth, where tech and Black excellence meet. I am Janita Brock.
Otis Ricks.
Charles Jones.
And the three of us together make TechTeenth. So for those of you who are familiar with us or new checking in, welcome back. Welcome to us. All right, guys. So we're back in the saddle.
We back.
Back to
we
it.
Back, baby.
You know? So the three of us, this was born back in 2020?
2020.
Yeah.
Is it like 2019?
Yes.
When me and Charles went to a conference.
Yes.
And talked about we could do this.
Yeah.
But better. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was actually it was a high moment one night, you know.
We talked about the best
There's
moments.
nothing in Atlanta here.
Yeah,
I saw nothing about that. Yeah.
You're right.
And so from that, they decided to let me in the crew, which is very nice of you guys. We really
wanted you so
appreciated
bad.
it.
We
It
was
was
like,
very
she
good.
had so much value. And look where we at.
We made it. We made it.
Diversity still exists somewhere.
I
Yes.
know, right? Thanks for including me. And so with that, we started meeting, plotting, planning, getting everything together. We were able, between all of our networks, to get a good group of people out. We did our first event at Oak's Place.
We did. We had it in my clubhouse, which is club room, which is very nice. Set up as family style. Like people came and showed up and showed out. So it was a good time just to kick us off, right?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, it was great. And we were able to share a lot about our mission, which for us was, as Charles said, we wanted to do something different. We live in Atlanta, which is arguably Black Mecca. And when we looked around and saw the growing presence of tech here, it just kind of made sense to say, okay, we need something local. We need something here.
Yeah.
But we want it to be different, right?
Right.
And so a lot of what we wanted to bring was a spin, if you will, something new, something that wasn't just, oh, you have people talking at you about their experiences,
Right.
but us actually being able to share technology or share the real nitty gritty how-tos to getting jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lack of representation, right? And even though Atlanta is blackity black, right? We feel like there wasn't a space just for us in tech, right? There was a lot of companies starting to come into Atlanta. We heard at that point, 2020, Microsoft was bringing our office here, our headquarters here. Facebook was bringing a headquarters here. You know, Amazon was still trying to figure out where their headquarters was going to be at. And so Atlanta was about to be this new tech hub, but there was nothing for Black tech, right? So we figured we could fill that void.
I feel like it's been here. I feel like it's been here for a while.
It's been here, but like haphazardly. Like all
tech itself.
Oh, yeah. Tech
Like the word tech
you got
itself,
Cisco,
right.
you got a bunch of Georgia Tech. Right, Georgia Tech. So you're right. But it was like a focus on it being a tech hub.
Right.
Like a global tech hub.
Yeah, well, tech boomed in California, right, with with Silicon Valley and all those companies out there. But yeah, bringing it to Atlanta is where it really started to foster because of the amount of people here. Also, the amount of money that was here.
Yes.
So that's where, you know, we have the consultants, we have all the major firms here. But now it's well, yeah, how do we take that space, take those people, and now just formalize them in a way to do things geared towards tech? Because now tech is everything, and tech is where people want to be.
Yeah. How do we get here, though? Like, how did we get here?
Well,
right?
yeah,
we all got
that's
our own background in tech and other industries. So, like, Janita, like, give us a little bit about your background.
I mean, my background is I'm a hodgepodge of things. I'm a medley of my experiences, is what I like to say. So I actually was not interested in tech when I first left college. Did nothing for it. Went to school with aspirations to be a pharmacist. Got my degree in food science, human nutrition, minor in chem. Have never used that a day in my life. And so after school, though, I knew I didn't want to go into pharmacy by then. And I went into insurance, what I like to call the land of misfits. It was a beautiful land. I had a good time, made a lot of money, young, doing catastrophe work. It was great. Then got bored of that and was like, this is just not the place for me. I felt like it wasn't that I was bored. It was that I felt too young and I felt like my potential was being capped because they told me I had to wait longer. I had to be older to continue to grow. And I was like, I don't subscribe. Yeah. I'm going to do something else. So thankfully, when I was reaching out to show interest and looking for another job, the company that I worked for, which was an up and coming tech company, took a chance on me. And so I joined and I was employee number like 350. And fortunately for me, they had just started building the Atlanta office. So It was a perfect storm that I think I was able to navigate very well, because fast forward over 6 years, I went from being, I guess I don't even know if you would call it middle management, more than like frontline manager, trying to create this new higher college grad onboarding program that then slowly morphed into, hey, we actually want you to figure out how to take this process that's driving us crazy and move it to automation with our engineers. And over time, one process became 14, I think, by the time I left. My first group of 11 people turned into almost 350 across the globe.
Wow.
I went from managing just people in Atlanta to managing people in Atlanta, New York, Texas, Bellevue, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Amsterdam, London.
All over the world.
All over the world. And left as the senior director of global operations. So I felt really that I had achieved a lot. Maybe for another pod, we can talk about the real journey behind it.
Yeah.
But I decided to take my talents and actually just bet on myself. And so for the last year and a half, I've been doing that. And I will say, within the last 6 months, I've finally seen a big breakthrough, and including today, which is so exciting.
Yeah.
But anyway, and so with that, I'm able to take a lot of my skills, not just from the tech side, which is a big part of what I offer in my consulting firm, but also a lot of my organizational skills and a lot of the things you get by trying to climb and get closer to, the C-suite, where we all at one point aspired to be. And I'm like, yeah, I can be my own CEO. So
Yeah, that's a true testament. Corporate America is great, but bet on yourself is great.
It's wonderful. So what about you, Zeno?
So I just knew I was going to be an accountant. I knew this from high school. I was like, I'm going to be a CPA. I'm going to be a businessman who counts the money. Like, I knew math. I love math and I love money. And I was like, those are the two things that I thought accountants did, was just count money all day. Little did I know, it's a very boring job if you go into accounting. Not to diss anybody when they counted, but I went to school for accounting. Got my master's in accounting, thought I was going to be a CPA. I took the CPA exam. I got all the way to the last one and failed it. And then I was like, man, do I really want to do this? And I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to do this. I don't think I want to be a CPA. So I just said, forget it, right? And didn't even finish taking the exam because you lose one after 18 months if you don't finish. So I started to lose the ones I passed. So I had to take them all over again. I was like, I'm not going to waste my time. But out of grad school, I got a job with one of the big 4 firms in consulting. And that's kind of my wheelhouse. That's my vibe. Like, I'm a huge networker. I love people and introducing people to other people. And I just love networking and consulting. So I was like, this is a good, perfect fit. I was actually the only hire out of grad school in the consulting practice. They were hiring one person. And we all were like, who's going to get the job? Who's going to get the job? I got the job at the interview, the office visit. They offered it to me. They was like, don't tell anybody.
Wow.
The other people, because I had to go eat lunch with these people and I knew I had the job. So I'm over here, I was like, oh my God, I still got one more interview. And I was like, nah, I got this already. That was the coolest experience. Actually, back up because of a Black mentor. So one of the guys, older Black guys in accounting in NABA, the National Association of Black Accountants, he was at the firm and he kind of coached me through the interview process. And he made a few calls the day before the office visit. Was like, we got to hire him. And everybody was like, if you want him, we're going to do it. So all the partners agreed and I got the job on the spot, essentially. So that's a testament to mentorship and just how we can pull each other up, Blacks on Blacks. So went into Big 4 consulting, was there for 11 years. That's where I transitioned into cybersecurity. So I don't do anything with my accounting degrees. I don't use my accounting degrees except for my CFO duties in my businesses. That's the only accounting stuff I do now. But yeah, I was working in cybersecurity, doing consulting projects all over the country, traveling for free, loving that experience. And then I decided that during COVID, I wanted to switch because I was on the partner track, but I felt like it wasn't going to be what I wanted to be for the next 10 to 20 years. So I decided to switch roles, and now I'm a cybersecurity oversight principal. So I oversee all of our cybersecurity risk functions, and I kind of assess them, consult them, and make sure all the different domains within cyber, the first line they call it, they are doing everything adhering to regulation. And I bring that thought leadership that I was bringing to my clients, but to my individual company now. So it was a cool journey. I love it. I also have apps. I'm building apps, and we got tech team. So I'm still in the tech world outside of my 9 to 5. But accounting to cyber to now hopefully an entrepreneur, business owner, full time like Janita. So
Well, I think before we get to me, I think what's interesting about both of you guys' paths, you guys just get at what you did and just were able to translate or have those transferable skills to go do something else and be great, even for your personal businesses. So I think that is something for people to be aware of. You know, you don't have to finish where you started.
That's true.
You know, so
That's true.
Now for me, I think I'm the only one here that actually went into tech. To hope to get into tech.
Yes.
And I think I came out the womb that way with my mother. You know, she's computer science, has a master of computer science, college professor.
Shout out to the Black.
Right.
That queen
is
Shout out.
dude.
you know, so I went to school to major in engineering, got my master's in engineering, and you know, similar to I think actually you brought to my attention what a consulting was. You know, I thought I was going to end up in a manufacturing plant, and I hated those internships. I said I have to go somewhere where I can put on a suit, dress up, you know, get to travel, whatever the case may be. I wanted to be in the office, not in a manufacturing plant, 5 days a week. Again, no offense to people who do that. It's a great job if you have to do it. It just wasn't for me. So I majored in engineering, started in the Big Four, similar to and we actually worked together for a little bit too, one of the Big Four firms. So I started in tech, you know, doing software implementations, going through the whole project management piece, but started as a solution architect. You know, so I'm gathering requirements, designing for companies, just, you know, what your business should look like, and then leading those teams. And then ultimately, you know, going to a startup about 7 years ago where I still am now. And that's worked out well for me. So I'm now currently a transformation director. So, you know, it's rolling out global initiatives for all these different teams. So it impacts product, it impacts, you know, our global services, it impacts everybody. So I'm really just working with our leaders across the globe in that capacity. So it's definitely a higher visibility role. I'm just looking forward to make change. So I've just taken those same processes and skill sets that I've learned over the years and supply them to, you know, something new now. So it's learning new waters. It's uncharted territory for me, but you know, we're just growing and learning. So
growing and learning,
growing and learning. Great segue over to kind of what we grew or how we grew and what we learned as we were tackling TechTeenth, our 1.0, I'll say, which was, you know, everybody has life happen. So we all had a little bit of life happen.
Life be lifing.
Yes. But also we noticed that the landscape, even before what, you know, is kind of a big topic now with Trump really kind of being more of voice and like megaphone of no DEI. We actually kind of saw it happening before his second term.
We did.
And as we were, you know, really dreaming, right, and continuing to go towards our goals, we realized our dream was quite pricey.
Right.
And unfortunately, the well of money was about this deep.
Right.
And there were it was shrinking. It was getting smaller and smaller. And we were challenged a lot with, you know, what is the ROI? What can you give? Because while they did get, I presume, you know, some good talent, some people that came in, I do think companies were starting to catch on a bit of like, okay, I don't know what the real ROI here is, if it's just we're supporting our African-American employees, or, you know, are we getting that back?
We called it the adult spring break. We would just go to these conferences and party and drink. And
that's not everybody.
Okay. I'm speaking for myself.
Please.
And a lot of thousands of others that I saw drinking and partying with me. I still made it to the conference events. Hungover. I still made it.
Yeah, so
it was fun. It was more about the fun and the networking and the hanging out and seeing people you hadn't seen.
And I think
I guess depending on so was your first conference NABA?
It was NABA.
Yeah, so I've been going to NSBE, which is the National Society of Black Engineers, since I've been in middle school, high school. Those start at a very much earlier, and it's much larger, and it's a bigger machine because it's middle school, high school chapters, college chapters, and you got the professional chapters. Don't get me wrong, like there's things that they do to make it fun, right? They bring in step shows and everything else around engineering, but it's so many people, and it's, again, having that mentorship aspect there. I think it's a little bit different from what I've seen from other conferences, my personal experience.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Because engineers were a little different, especially the older ones. We came from, that tech was not, that's the IBM and the Microsoft back in the day. It was a little different, but
that's true.
Yeah.
Well, and then I think it was actually, yes, we partied. Yes, we went out. But it was also the fact that I think as a person that participated, my first time going, I wasn't actually expecting the party. I was expecting to be enriched, to be inspired, to learn. And when I went, I was finding that I was just basically hearing people's journeys. And it almost sounded like, okay, but you're not telling me how.
Right.
You're telling me what you did, but you're not really giving me any knowledge nuggets here. Nor am I seeing like, okay, hey, let's have a breakout session where we actually teach you something pivotal that you can take back to your company that will change the landscape of your day, your teams, all of that stuff. And so it just felt like it was missing something that we could at least tangibly say, hey, we want that with what we're creating.
Yeah. And a lot of conferences I did go to were specifically around finding a job. That was like the big piece. It was like speaking to companies, the career fair, going to different like booths that the companies have and interacting and networking with those people. And then building up your own like reputation across various companies so that when you interview, they know, oh, hey, there's Otis. I met you at the happy hour last night. You seem cool at the happy hour. Let's talk business now, right? So that was my intent. Like when I went to a lot of those conferences to find a job.
Though, it felt like the jobs were very specific.
Yeah.
And I felt like that wasn't broadcast as much that like they really only want engineers.
Yep.
So a lot of the jobs that I think, if we're honest, Black people end up getting in tech were not the jobs that they were looking for at the conferences. So you have a lot of Black people that are doing the marketing for tech.
Yeah.
A lot of Black people that might be doing sales for tech.
Or the admin.
Again, entry-level management. Like, again, some of the things where it's like, if we're being honest, the big names weren't there to get another marketing person or another, HR analyst.
Yeah. And so we saw that gap, right? We noticed there was a gap, there was a void, there was a need for everything we felt was missing from conferences. So we thought, hey, let's start TechTeenth. Let's start a company that we can have a conference in Atlanta that's blackity black to help Black people get into tech.
That don't have a traditional tech background, such as Janita and Otis.
Very good point. That like me and Janita, who didn't have a tech background.
Thrive.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that's how TechTeenth was born. We took the words technology and Juneteenth, right? So TechTeenth, technology, Juneteenth merged together is TechTeenth. And the conference was our first kind of initiative project that we wanted to implement in the city, but that drastically failed. I won't call it drastically failed.
We failed. No, I didn't fail.
It's a lesson. All right, we learned lessons.
Watch this. I don't think we failed because things grew from what we did in our first event.
I agree.
People came together and they created companies from what we showed them.
Yeah.
They really followed our model and they created companies. They created partnerships and friendships. So in that one event, in that time that we had, we did a lot.
We had 2 events though.
The time we took and put into that, just everything that we did, even in those events, it still bringing people together.
Yeah.
It's just we didn't keep doing it.
We didn't.
And why didn't we keep doing it? And so she said, between families and just careers and jobs, we got busy. But again, to another point, the money was dry. That well was dry. Yeah, we weren't charging people. We did all of that out of our own pockets.
Yeah.
We had some funding, but it wasn't sustainable enough to keep going and say, well, we do these events. Now, what does a conference cost?
Right.
And if you guys have not looked, hotels, spaces,
food,
chairs, lights,
lantern. What was that? Like the lantern, all that stuff costs.
We started adding it up, and and
speakers. Yeah. Oh man, the speakers.
Yeah. So I do think we still have the ability to do those similar events and still grow. We do plan on doing that.
And to tie back a brilliant statement that you said, we're just not finishing where we started. So here we are with TechTeenth 2.0, where we still keep our same mission, which is we still want to be the place where tech and Black excellence meet. We're just doing it in a different platform, something that we think we can still get that bottom line out to our folks, which is we want to see more Black faces in tech. We want to have real conversations about tech. And now we actually have a wonderful opportunity to teach about tech a bit more in this space. And so as we approach this, we're trying to really embody a bit of resilience, embody a bit of, hey, you can continue to grow some of our own background and things that we've experienced to say, hey, we're going to finish somewhere different than we started.
Yeah.
But it's probably going to be better.
And now we can impact millions instead of hundreds or thousands. Or billions. That's my goal. Impact billions.
Billions.
Yep. So yeah, TechTeenth 2.0 is essentially this platform that we're bringing to you with the podcast, and we will be bringing tech to you, right? Instead of trying to get you into tech, which was 1.0, 2.0, we will be hosting, demos. We will be showing you different technologies. We will have guests, CEOs, C-suite executives, directors throughout different tech companies. And we will showcase a lot of different ways that you can leverage technology in your everyday life, in your small business, your big business, entrepreneurs, 9-to-5ers. Everyone will have a space here to learn and grow and gain that knowledge in the tech industry, because we don't want to get left behind, right? We see the waves come and go, and this is a wave we don't want to let our people fall behind.
Right.
So with that, everybody, it's just the beginning. So please like and subscribe, follow, all the great things, and we'll see you next episode.
Peace out.
Peace.